Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. We are back with season 2 of Trends In. We are starting again with my colleague from the Dublin office, who is leading the life science recruitment for the European market, as well as the Leinster region. He's also an expert in the validation space, and this is what we are going to talk about. Ryan, how is the market these days?
Yeah, it's the busiest I've ever seen it, which is great. I don't think I've ever seen the market at all this busy in terms of contract and permanent opportunities. As you mentioned, I specialize in the validation side of things, so there's a massive demand at the moment in the validation market across kind of all areas. You're looking at QA validation, computer systems validation, and then also the equipment and process validation side of things. There has been a little bit of a drop off when we look at Ireland in the CQV side of things. That's just mainly due to large projects that are moving out of the commissioning stage and into the latter stages of validation at the moment in those sort of projects. But we are beginning to see that again pick up as new startups and new expansions are being announced. So yeah, look, the market's busy. There's more jobs now than I've ever seen before in my few years of recruitment. So it's a good market to be in for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, my impression right now is that the market is very driven by the candidates, and we don't get enough roles to match those candidates. That's at least what I see. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely, look, it is a candidate-driven market, and I mean, the candidates really get to decide what they want, to a certain extent in terms of whether it's contract or perm, and I mean the different opportunities there. I would say there's definitely plenty of roles out there. It's trying to find candidates, and the competition is so high from one company to another. So, like, when we look at the market currently, I would say there's probably a 60-40 split from, say, contract to permanent opportunities when we look from the client perspective, and that somewhat mirrors what candidates are looking for. So particularly, say, in CSV equipment and process validation, a lot of them candidates and professionals want to be working on daily rate or hourly rate contracts rather than, say, permanent positions. Now, when I go and look at, say, the QA validation market, funny enough, there seems to be a lot more permanent opportunities out there, and the candidates seem to be more inclined to move towards that perm side. So it's interesting. As we, I suppose, come out of the pandemic and things are starting to shift again, there are definitely more clients moving towards permanent roles again. So although it's probably a 60-40 split now from, say, contract to perm, I see that probably moving back more towards the 50-50 sort of mark. Particularly when I notice a lot of our clients are moving some of their contract roles to actual permanent opportunities. We're beginning to see that shift and move back to kind of 50-50 split a little bit. However, when we look at the likes of, as you say, CSV and process validation and equipment validation, it's definitely contracting heavy rather than, say, permanent opportunities.
Yeah, perfect. You've mentioned the virus situation. Is there still any impact on the industry?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think initially when the pandemic first came in, there was just that level of uncertainty on the market. I think in all areas, thankfully, look, pharmaceutical and biopharma, the whole life sciences industry is very buoyant. And there wasn't much of an impact. Initially, we saw maybe hiring slowing down a little bit and maybe some freezes coming in on capital projects, which did impact the contract market a little bit. But that shifted right back after, I'd say, maybe 1 or 2 months, to be honest, when companies started getting plans into place and how we can actually move to a more remote workforce or a more blended workforce. So I don't think there's any impacts in terms of the hiring. I think, as I said at the beginning of this call, I've never seen the market as busy as it is now. I think the main impact of COVID is, I suppose, how people work nowadays. There's a lot more remote working opportunities, particularly when you look at the validation market. And when you look across the board, when you look at quality as well, there is a big focus on people who want to work remotely or have I suppose, a blended workforce, or maybe they're doing 1 or 2 days remote and maybe 2 or 3 from the site. So the only impact I think that's relevant or that's kind of clear right now is that there's a more remote workforce or more blended workforce, as I say. In terms of the jobs and the job availability, it's definitely the market is booming. As I said at the beginning, it's the biggest I've seen the market. So there's definitely no impact or negative impact from the COVID pandemic as of now that I can see.
Yeah, but I think it's not only the job itself, but also the recruitment process that changed as well. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about how that changed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you're spot on. Look, I think initially, I mean, we're doing a video call now. We probably have done very, very little video calls before COVID. And I think that's pretty much the case for everyone. or the majority of people in the life science industry anyway. That is somewhat changed now. So I mean, when we look at the recruitment process and how companies are hiring, I'm pretty sure all of our clients are doing definitely first and second rounds and pretty much the entire recruitment process virtually over the likes of Teams or Skype. So in terms of that side of things, it's definitely moved to a more virtual recruitment process, and that's been pretty much across the board. Now, a lot of companies are beginning to start maybe doing final round interviews or maybe final round catch up in person. But I suppose by and large, it has remained virtual. And to be honest, I think it'll probably go that way, and it'll probably stay that way because it means, you know, workers and candidates, they don't have to take off as much time to go and travel to a site necessarily for 2 or 3 occasions, and they can do maybe the first 1 or 2 rounds over a recruitment process over Teams. And I think people have got a lot more comfortable now speaking on camera than maybe they were before. So I'd say the past couple of months, the candidate side of things, people are more comfortable on camera and you know, doing these interviews online and virtually, which is great.
Yeah, perfect. Like my impression is that overall, you know, like your space as well as my space, which is automation, which is overall industry 4.0, is very much on the rise, and at least I think so that we will see even more of the positions like that in the near future. What roles do you think from your space will be in the highest demand over the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at what's kind of coming up and chatting to clients and chatting about different projects that are in the pipeline, we kind of have an idea of what our clients are going to be looking for in the next couple of months. And as you say, Industry 4.0 is a big focus on, you know, smart manufacturing and technologies and bringing a more automated process in, and I suppose linking machines and the equipment. And you know, as you mentioned, automation is going to play a huge part in that shift. So you know, from your side of things, that'll obviously will definitely be in demand. In order for, I suppose, the automation side to come in and play its part, there's going to be a big push for, say, the likes of big data and a clear understanding of how automation can improve the workplace. So I think having clear communication skills is definitely going to help you. But when we look at what roles are going to be in demand, I think we'll continue to see increased demand for CSV engineers, and increasingly we'll begin to see more demand, I believe, for the data integrity specialists and data compliance specialists as this push for big data comes in. And obviously we move to a more virtual workforce, and people are moving, or companies are moving away from, say, paper records, they're moving to paperless and virtual records essentially. So there's going to be a lot of folks in that data integrity and data security side of things. So I think looking in the next kind of 12 to 18 months, the CSV engineers, all the computer system validation and data integrity and data compliance specialists is where we're going to see an even bigger increase in demand than we already have.
Excellent. Look, Ryan, that's just, I think, quick overview of the market, and it will be very helpful for a lot of hopefully candidates as well as my clients. Where people can reach you when they would like to apply for a CSV role, or maybe they would like your help with some certain validation role.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, look, anyone who's interested, even just seeing what's out there in the market and seeing, I suppose, how your position lines up with the current market trends and I suppose the demands, feel free to get in touch. You can get me on LinkedIn, just Ryan Malone, or else you can go onto the Sigmar website and you'll find me there, or give me a call on 014744661, and you'll get me there. But yeah, if you're interested in new job opportunities, or you just want to see what's out in the market and see how, I mean, your current position compares to what else is on offer, feel free to get in touch. I'm more than happy to have a confidential conversation with anyone.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ryan. Of course, the number that Ryan mentioned is +353, which is Irish extension for those who are watching us from other European countries. Thanks, Ryan, and have a good day. Yeah.
No, thank you, Marcel. Bye.